Skin infections. Do you think you have a skin infection? Do you struggle with skin infections? And how do you know you have a skin infection as opposed to a reoccurring flare from any external or internal element? In today's video, we're going to look at how we can identify a skin infection, how we can treat them, and how we can prevent them from reoccurring in the future. Today we have the incredible Tsw Eczema, homeopath and holistic practitioner, the one and only lady that treated my TSW and helped me overcome my chronic skin condition and also tackle the root cause of my lifelong eczema. She has an abundance of amazing knowledge when it comes to helping you overcome your skin condition. She's treated many people with topical steroid withdrawal and others with chronic eczema, and she has an amazing knowledge that she's going to share with us today about how you can really tackle what is a skin infection, what we need to be doing, and also how we can strengthen our immunity overall. So thank you so much for spending the time with us this afternoon and having us in your surgery today. So Julia, we've had a long relationship over the last few years. So can you tell us, how can we identify that we have a skin infection?
Okay, so it's actually a really good topic for skin infections because holistically or even standard medicine, when you're treating eczema, TSW or eczema are separate, you're doing everything to avoid the skin infection.
Right.
That is why I understand why doctors give the treatment that is so intense, because they're like, we can't have a skin infection.
Right.
Because it can be quite intense and dangerous.
Yes.
So that's why I understand why they have the anxiety of you need to do the steroids.
Yes.
They just are not trained in another way, but equally we would have the same type of a mentality of it cannot be infected. Now that's not to say if you do get infected there's not loads that you can do. We're just trying to do everything to avoid it.
Yes.
So there is a difference. What confuses a lot of people is they think they have something called cellulitis.
Yes.
So that is an infection of the inner skin, or just an infection on the top of the skin. It can look very much like weeping eczema.
Yes.
Have you had?
I had a lot of weeping. So I had a skin infection. I think it was the first round that I tried to overcome my TSW, and I had lots of weeping on my cheeks, and I think it was actually from an intolerance to spelt flour. I was making lots of spelt pancakes.
Oh yeah.
And I had that oozing. I had, the bleeding, the oozing.
And the crusts.
And the crusts,
Yeah. Now, was it painful?
Oh, hellishly painful. Burning, itching still.
Heat.
And just, the burning was horrific. And
that's how you know you have an infection.
So that's an infection.
So there
is the infection then?
Not necessarily, because you can have weeping eczema, but it won't be painful. It won't be hot and it won't be crusty. It can be sticky in infection, and it can be, you will have a fever if it's quite over a larger area.
Right.
And it can be smelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people do talk about the smell of their skin. So if they have that, the pain,
it's a specific
and the smell.
Infection smell.
Right, infection.
But not everybody will.
Okay.
So what is happening, the problem is to identify, is this an infection, isn't this an infection? What I always tell my patients with their doctor when I'm working with their doctor is you want to get an skin analysis.
Okay.
So they will do like a scrape and they will identify if there is an overgrowth of the bacteria.
Right.
What is really important, because what is automatically assumed is that it's a staph infection. But there's many different types of staph infections, and there might be another type of bacteria. So you could be given an antibiotic that is not right for that bacterial infection. That's happened with patients before.
Oh, I see.
And so I say, listen, before you take anything, we need to get the analysis, and so we can there's ways you can keep cleaning the skin to keep it at bay until we get the right analysis. And everybody is shocked. They're going, well, I can't believe that was the bacteria that was causing it.
Right, okay.
That's happened multiple times.
Okay, so you need the right antibiotics to treat the right type of
if you're going to use antibiotic. Now there's certain cases with smaller ailments and it's not sure if it's an infection, and all the patient is offered is very strong antibiotics, or they've already had an antibiotic and the symptoms are still there.
Right.
That's when I question. Is it either the wrong antibiotic, or it's really a bacterial infection?
Right.
So that's when you the question mark, the line is blurred.
Okay.
So all I would always say is, if you think you have a systemic, it's painful, it's smelly, it's weepy, it's sticky, it's yellow, it's crusty, very descriptive, go and get a scrape, go and get an analysis.
Okay.
And make sure you're getting the right antibiotic if you want to use an antibiotic.
Right. Okay. So we need to take that test, and we need to really identify.
Really insist on it.
Okay. Because what's the difference between sort of like a staph infection that people have reoccurring with the
It will look
eczema,
the same.
It'll look the same.
Yeah, or any bacterial infection of the skin will look the same.
Okay.
The other description I give to patients is if they're wondering if they have an infection, because I work internationally, so it's over the phone or or Zoom. I say, does it look like a bee sting? Have you ever had a really bad bee sting and it's all swollen and hot?
Yeah.
It looks like that, but with eczema on top.
Right. Okay.
That's an infection.
And then something like cellulitis, which you said is very dangerous.
Yeah.
How do you know that your skin infection has got to that
You
level?
would know.
You would know.
You have, the pain is unbearable.
Unbearable.
Yeah, it is over a long period of time.
Okay.
The whole area is swollen.
Right.
Yeah, that's how you know.
Okay, and that's when you need to be hospitalised, is it?
No, you don't necessarily. It can be treated locally, but you can. You have to be guided with your practitioner, whether it be your medical practitioner or holistic, or generally together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, how can we treat these skin infections,
Yeah.
before they become so critical that we need to go on to antibiotics? What can we be doing?
Right, the first thing you want to do to prevent an infection is you want to make sure that your the pH of your skin, remember we discussed the pH, is being addressed. So your skin should be slightly acidic.
Yes.
I know everyone's trying to be alkaline, that's your internal organs. Your skin needs to be acidic.
Right.
So the issue with that is if you naturally have eczema, your pH is already out. So you're doing everything. If you're using it to try and get that pH back to become acidic. If you are using standard soaps, shower gels, that's going to disturb your pH. Certain creams will disturb your pH. And what else the water that you live in?
Yes.
Where we live is very hard water. It's very alkaline water. That will disturb your pH.
Yeah, absolutely. So the things that you told me, when you were treating me, was the apple cider vinegar bath, because we have the very hard water here.
Yeah. And not baking soda.
No baking soda.
No baking soda.
No bleach.
Absolutely not.
Really? Because a lot of people do like bleach
I have
baths if they've got a skin infection.
I've heard of that from patients, and they've done it once for impetigo.
Impetigo
is another type it's a highly contagious skin infection, and so you don't have to have eczema or TSW to have impetigo. Most kids get impetigo at one stage, and the grandmother's tales, they say, is put a tiny bit of bleach, but it's not something that I would say anybody should do.
Okay. All right then. And then things like changing out your hygiene products.
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
Just water.
Just water.
That's what I generally say to my TSW and my eczema. Just use water on your skin.
And no soaps, no...
Not initially. If you're quite bad, not initially.
Okay.
Now,
not even like non-SLS?
No.
Okay.
Just water.
Just water.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it's that inflamed, anything could trigger it as well.
I see.
Now, if you're like, okay, it's not that bad, it all depends on the case. Case dependent. A very, very mild, no perfume soap.
Right, okay.
Yeah, like an olive oil soap.
Yes, because I use something, and I'll link it below, from Amazon. It's by Stevenson's and Sons, and it's a melt and pour non-sodium lauryl sulfate soap. Yeah. And I make my own little bars, and then, I mean, nowadays I'll add a few drops of essential oil, but obviously I never touch that at the beginning.
Yeah, no.
And it's very, very gentle.
Yeah.
But it does cleanse. You know,
you will be cleaning out the infection.
Yeah.
You just won't be doing it with harsh soaps.
Right, okay.
So there will be local areas that you will clean.
Okay.
And one area that this is very, very case dependent is you can use a very, very diluted form of hydrogen peroxide.
Okay.
That you can. But I would very much do a very much diluted dose solution, and you do a test area first.
Okay.
So that can be done. Colloidal silver is really, really good for that.
Fantastic.
And what's the other one? They're the two main ones that I would go. The other thing you can do on a small patch is you can use really good honey and cover it over. It's very antimicrobial.
Brilliant. So the honey, the colloidal silver, and then the hydrogen peroxide. Okay,
very diluted
Okay,
solution.
very diluted.
The other thing I would say is that if you are doing skin infection and you're trying to, and can talk about homeopathic remedies as well, as very specific homeopathic remedies, you have to clean it out 3 or 4 times a day. Okay. I think people just clean it out once and that's it.
Okay.
When you're using natural, you really have to kind of up the ante.
Right.
So if you were putting honey on it, you would wash that off and then you'd put it on again. Because I know a lot of people with TSW and eczema, they're afraid to put water on their skin.
Absolutely. Well, it's irritating, isn't it?
It depends on the water.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about apple cider vinegar for the pH, that's another thing that I find people do is you have an apple cider vinegar bath, especially if you have very calcaire.
Yeah. Hard water.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Very hard water. And what people are, they're putting in like cups of it.
Yes.
You don't need much. You should barely be able to smell the vinegar.
Yes.
Barely able to smell it.
Okay. So like a bath with a foot of water, half a cup. Not even.
Maybe not even
Maybe
that.
not even that.
Yeah,
Quarter. or
quarter.
something. Okay,
Exactly.
all right then. And that will help balance the
The
pH.
pH.
of
Now
your
you can
skin.
buy pH strips.
Okay.
And you can actually test the water
Test
before you
the
have a
water.
bath.
Yeah, yeah, like those swimming pool
Yeah,
testers.
yeah.
I know those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little strips. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, brilliant. And what should our pH be then for our skin?
They say it's around 5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Do you remember those ads, pH of 5.5?
That's right. Yeah, well, there's a lot of products on the market
Yes.
that claim to balance the pH of your skin.
Yeah. The other reason that we need to have a good pH, and this is what a lot of talking about products coming on the market, there's not loads but starting, is skin probiotics.
Right.
Because that's what's happened when you have a bacteria. We all have bacteria on our skin, all
Yeah.
of us now. Is that when it's out of balance,
Yes.
that's when you have opportunistic bacteria like a staph infection that can take hold. To actually get products to put the probiotics, back onto your skin.
Okay,
And balance that.
Okay, so
They're quite interesting
Oh,
products.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think Hollis do a product. They do
Yes.
a probiotic spritz.
Yeah.
And I was very interested in that.
Yeah.
And would that be something that,
That
could
would be
help
some- yeah.
balance your pH?
Exactly.
And
And
help
maintain your pH.
Right.
Because your oils, the other thing that maintains your pH is your natural oil, your sebum.
Okay.
But however, if you have eczema, you have your sebum is either not balanced or
Right.
it's very wanting. Do you remember that time? I think it was with yourself. We were going through and you were saying, "I'm starting to get acne." And
Yes.
like that's a
Yeah, yeah.
really good
Yeah.
sign because that's your body starting to make oil,
Yes.
and so you can get a few spots
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that. But that was the oil starting that you didn't have
Something.
before.
No.
It was nothing.
So new to me. So what can we do homeopathically then
I
in
love this
order
question.
to
So,
fight infections?
Homeopathy, true homeopathy is based on the individual, so it depends on your symptoms. However, there are a few, depends on your symptoms, which remedy is selected for you.
Okay.
Now, in saying that, that can be a bit complicated if you don't have a homeopath near you for an appointment, or it's just not accessible in your area, or you're overwhelmed looking up yourself. I will give you a few of the main homeopathic remedies.
Okay.
So the first one I would say is Hepar sulf.
Hepar sulfur, yes? I know
Yeah.
Hepar sulfur.
Hepar sulf is they call it the homeopathic antibiotic.
Yes.
It's that crusty yellow oozy. You can actually use it for sinus infection, throat infections. It's great. It's a great remedy to have at home.
Right.
So that is a really good remedy. I would first start off with for the skin.
Okay.
The next one is sepia.
Sepia.
Sepia. And I'm going to tell you what it looks like because then you can look it up on the
Okay.
internet and what it looks like. It's like an impetigo
Okay.
type looking infection.
Okay.
So sepia is a really good one.
Brilliant.
Mercury.
Mercury.
These all don't sound great, but mercury is a fantastic homeopathic when it's there's a lot of infection, there's a smell, it is oozing.
Okay.
That's a good one. Next one is graphites.
Graphites.
Graphites wouldn't be as painful, but there's a lot of what they call the honey oozing.
Okay.
So that type sticky sensation.
Yes, the stickiness. Yeah.
Graphites.
Okay.
And the other ones, there's a few more, but they're very specific. The practitioner would have to advise them, but they're the four main ones.
Okay. I remember having graphites and
Yep.
Hepar sulf.
Yes.
And I think graphites was really my core homeopathic remedy that I had from literally day one to
Yes.
day 175 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was my staple
Yeah.
homeopathic remedy that I always had. And
Yeah.
I know that after I had that first infection and that stickiness and as you say the crusting and the oozing went away. And it went away quite quickly with the graffitis,
One thing that people can do actually is that if people want to use homeopathy, but there can be an element of fear and anxiety and stress will aggravate your eczema, that's for sure. Is if you're too afraid to not give up the medication, but you're understanding, because a lot of the work that we did and I do is all about balancing your gut health, because inflammatory markers and your immune system's ability to fight off even bacteria all comes from your intestines.
Yes, yeah.
So if you're taking antibiotics and you've done all this work, you're afraid you're going to destroy your good flora and therefore the consequences. But what you can do, which I'm not against, is a topical antibiotic.
Okay.
So I say that to a lot of people, that just get a topical. And they're like, oh, I didn't realise I can do that and take the homeopathy internally.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Is that prescriptive? Would you have to get
Depends
that?
on the country.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on where you live.
So you might be able to get it over the counter in certain countries.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fantastic. All right.
And so you just have to, so when you're looking for skin infections, if you're doing something over the counter or for yourself, you just have to know the red flag symptoms.
Okay.
The fever, the dizziness,
Super.
that type of thing. Yeah.
All right, brilliant. So so as you're saying, internally, there's things that we need to be working on when it comes to our gut to strengthen our immunity, so that we can fight off this internal bacteria, so that we're not on this carousel of antibiotics constantly. So And we've covered a lot of this in some of our previous videos, so don't forget to go and look back at some of the videos I did last year with Julia, and I'll put those down in the link below as well. And just talking about our gut, because I know at the moment on social media you're doing, you know, a big campaign when it comes to supporting your immunity,
yes,
and overcoming reoccurring viruses and so forth.
Yeah.
So can that be beneficial to those with topical steroid withdrawal?
Because I'm doing an 8-week challenge, so basically it's different lifestyle changes that you can do over 8 weeks, so it's one a week,
right, and
they're all proven to support your innate natural immunity.
Okay.
So far we've spoken about fermented foods,
yes,
and that we're trying to integrate as much fermented foods in your body as possible. Fermented foods, there's loads of benefits, but they will reculture your intestines.
Okay.
And this week it's all about prebiotic foods, so nourishing the positive bacteria and yeast that you have in your gut.
Yes.
And there's some prebiotics that can also inhibit pathogenic bacteria.
Right.
So ones that, like, you know, causes problems.
Okay.
So you can do that this week. Next week is all about things that you shouldn't consume.
Right, okay.
That are known to inhibit your immune system.
Okay.
And that is one of them is helping people identify food intolerances. Because I don't think food intolerances are for the rest of your life. Even yourself, you know, you can have cheat days. The majority now you can have cheat days. But initially when you're in inflammation, you need to identify food intolerances. They will impact your gut and therefore impact your immune system. And how to cut out sugar. They're the two main things that I would say you need to cut out,
yes,
for your immune system, and that will help TSW.
Okay, brilliant.
And eczema patients.
Okay, so if there's one thing that you can eliminate in order to try and really get onto the right path to healing, is eliminate that sugar.
The sugar and identified food intolerances.
Okay.
Identifying food intolerances is really, I don't know if we did a video.
We did do a video on food intolerances last year.
Yeah,
we did.
That is, it's more complex than people. So if people are new to your channel, go and watch that video, because you need to understand when you're going to the doctor, your doctor mightn't even be trained or informed of the different types of analysis.
Absolutely.
So you have to go there informed and ask for the right test. Because what can happen is I get patients like, I'll come back, I have absolutely no food intolerances, and it's only one test.
Yes.
And there's other tests that you can do.
Yes, and just as a reminder, it's the blood.
There's 2 bloods.
2 bloods.
Yeah,
Okay.
IgG, IgE, and a stool test.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. Brilliant. So if they can get all of those tests done, that would be the
Good
full
idea.
analysis for you to be able to work off.
Exactly.
Yeah, and identify a treatment plan.
Yeah.
So everything that's food related is all about how you can prevent some of these skin infections from occurring.
Exactly.
So that's really going back to the sort of root cause of your eczema or whatever your skin condition, which has sort of cultivated into topical steroid withdrawal later down the line. So it all comes from this root cause.
Yes. So your gut has decided that your body will go into inflammation. Whether it goes into your skin or where else in your body, that is kind of down to genetics. So then what was happening is potentially you had a little bit of skin inflammation when you were a child, and then the gut inflammation got worse. You were then given probably antibiotics, which then made the gut inflammation even worse. You were then probably given steroids, which suppressed it for then your body to really bring out the inflammation, and then it has just snowballed.
Yes.
That's the path I usually see in patients.
Right, yeah.
And then because your skin is so compromised in terms of the protective power of sebum, in terms of the probiotics on your skin, that makes your skin exposed and vulnerable to bacterial infections.
That is the end of this first part series with Julia Edgley. I really hope you guys got some value out of it, and please let me know down below your comments. Have you tried a holistic approach? Have you investigated homeopathy? Is this something you might be willing to try? I'd really like to hear your feedback. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up for this video if you did get some value out of it, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new to my channel. And if you'd like to see any more of my videos, go ahead and check out my playlist with Julia Edgley, where she has delivered loads more content about homeopathy, gut health, and next week we'll be delving into more gut health alongside her 8-week immunity challenge, which she is doing on Instagram as well. So do check out her handle in the description below, and I'll see you guys all next week for another one. Bye for now.